And we welcome you to Wilk and Wiss, your bi-weekly breakdown of Utah athletes in the National Football League. This is Season 2, Episode 7, your Week 3 preview. I'm your co-host, Tanner Wilkinson, Cole Wissinger, my other co-host, and we've got our
Hello,
first
hello.
returning guest, Cole, from last season.
Yes, we do.
He was on a double feature episode with the other. It was Wilk and Wilk and Wilk and Wiss, and now tonight it's just Wilk and Wiss. Colby Wilkinson, my younger brother, joins the program. Colby, appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. We're actually recording this Wednesday night, given how schedules worked out this week. So usually this is a Thursday afternoon. We appreciate you making time for us on a Wednesday evening.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be the first guest called back. I see you guys are still going for those views, so yeah, happy to bring those to you.
Yeah, really, this is Insider Baseball. Our highest received episode was the Wilkin Wiss. And so we're just playing the hits and bringing back the first of the Wilks.
No deep tracks on this one. Well, you were just in Lambeau Field. That was the big reason we wanted to have you back for the second time in your life. You're a good luck charm. Packers are 2-0 whenever you've seen them play at Lambeau. Tell us about the experience of that, knowing that Jordan Love is going to be out for this game. You obviously planned this trip well in advance. The college game didn't go so great for you the day before, with it being Alabama, Wisconsin. However, things really turned around for you on Sunday. Talk about the Lambeau experience.
Yeah, we don't even need to bring up Saturday. But yeah, the Lambeau experience, it was incredible. I feel like crap still from all of the cheese that I ate over the weekend. But just being in that historic stadium and it's just electric. The fans there are amazing. You just can't beat it. It's the best venue in all of sports.
It's a bold claim, but it's also one of the oldest. It also probably has the best claim to it. So, uh, speaking, the only NFL stadium that I've personally ever been in was the new Raiders Black Hole Stadium at Allegiant, and that was for a college football game at that. And so, what's the NFL experience like? What do they have going on? When it goes to timeout, what do they trot out onto the field? Like, just what's the vibe at a live stadium?
Um, I mean, honestly, there was not a lot of like entertainment in between timeouts. Um, it was the home opener, so they had a segment where they honored um, Packers alumni, which was really cool. Um, but I don't know, like just being in that stadium was entertainment enough for me. Like I could just look around the stadium, see how beautiful it is for hours on hours. Like I stayed until I was told to leave because it's just amazing just being in that atmosphere. You don't really need any halftime entertainment.
And on top of that, your team played really well. Matt LaFleur, brilliant play, brilliant game plan. I think he has just blossomed into one of the best coaches in the entire National Football League, has been set free, if you will. What was that anticipation like knowing Jordan Love is not going to play in this game, playing against a Colts team that a lot of people had a lot of high expectations for? Uh, by the way, I picked Green Bay. Was I the only one last week that picked Green Bay, Cole, between the
I will
three of us?
confirm in a moment.
I'm 90% sure. I know you didn't, and I'm 90% sure Brant did not either. I don't know. There was just something there. I just had a feeling the way LaFleur goes. But what was the vibe with Jordan Love out, knowing Malik Willis was going to get that start against an upstart Colts team that barely lost to a good Houston team the week before?
My thought process was um, really the whole time I believed in Malik Willis. Um, I changed my fantasy football team name to the Malik Willis fan club, and I even started him.
I'm well aware as the person who
I
won
did end
that
up taking
matchup,
the
but
L.
yeah, you're welcome.
Ooh.
Yeah. Um, I I don't know. Like I have this weird intuition about the Packers. It brings me back to last year when they were really struggling and they went on the road on Thanksgiving to play the really hot Lions. And I just had like a really good feeling about the game. I just had this feeling, oh, they're gonna win. And they ended up destroying the Lions, and that's kind of what started their late season run. Um, the Packers haven't lost a home opener in a very long time, too. So that was going through my mind. We have a new defensive coordinator that's, I think he's brilliant. We have Xavier McKinney now on defense. We're a lot more aggressive on defense. Going into the game, I knew there was a good chance that we would win. And just like the feeling in Green Bay, it wasn't like, oh crap, love is out, we're gonna lose. It was just like football is back here, we're excited, and we're gonna scream our heads off and we're gonna win the game.
Yeah. Whenever I was asked to pick, I thought that Malik Willis was crap and that they would lose the game. But I was wrong. Tanner was the lone man out on the island to pick Green Bay. I was the only one that picked Pittsburgh, which
Which
looks
is
silly the way
looks
Denver looks
really
right
bad
now.
now.
And
Yeah.
then, but Brent was the only one to pick your Arizona Cardinals, and he got that one right. It was a funky week all around. None of us did particularly well on our picks last week. We'll see if that changes any bit here. But
Looking forward for the Packers. You got Tennessee this week, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Are you going? Is that right?
Yes, I'll be there.
You'll be there in the end zone,
Front row. Yeah.
front row. Chance Jordan Love does play. He practiced today. This is Wednesday. Uh, Bad news, Marshawn Lynch, your other good or
Marshawn Lloyd.
Marshawn Lloyd. Thank you. I've already made that. I made that mistake during the draft process, so this is not the first time that's happened. We won't edit that out, folks. That's a real live mistake we need to keep in there for comedic reasons. Marshawn Lloyd's got put on IR. You signed Chris Brooks, a BYU guy who actually did some things with the Dolphins last year, a little bit. So hey, you might have
In
an
that
at.
Dolphins Broncos game where they put up 70, Brooks broke off like a 54-yard run, and yeah, he was doing some stuff.
He'll have a chance to do something for the Pack. So you might have an Aggie handing off to a Cougar on Sunday. What are you looking forward to there? Should it be Jordan Love or should it be the Malik Willis revenge game at Tennessee?
Ooh. Well, according to Malik Willis, it is not a revenge game. He was asked that today, and he gave a very classy response. Just kind of shows you the guy he is. Um, I it's hard for me because I'm going to the game. I want to watch Jordan Love in person. But I'm also kind of cautious, and I feel like they can easily beat the Titans with Malik Willis. So my mindset right now is play Malik, let him do his thing, and get Jordan Love healthy for, I think they play the Vikings next after that.
You're also going to Jacksonville in a couple weeks. Jordan Love should be good by then. Pretty cool to say you've gone to three Packer games in the first half of the season. Uh, fully embracing that the Go Pack Go. By the way, do you have the Cheesehead bucket hat nearby? Any chance
You
you
want me
have
to
it
grab it?
nearby?
I can go
It
grab it. It's in
it's
my room.
it's pretty cool.
Yes.
If for people who don't follow you on Facebook, and the picture that was sent to our family group chat, he had a Cheesehead growing up, got it at a cool store in Las Vegas. Obviously, Cheeseheads deteriorate; they get nasty over time. This is something that you'll probably have. Did you get this there in Wisconsin?
No, I bought it online. before the season started, but it's a bucket hat.
Aw, there you go.
So yeah, if you saw Jaden Reed's cleats for the game, he had a cheese cleats. They were pretty sweet.
Mm.
And then the all you need is love t-shirt that you flashed there. That's a Jordan Love right there.
Yeah, yeah, it's got the 10.
Aha.
Mm.
Yeah, they were selling it at the Packers game, so I had to pick it up.
Well,
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
Decked out.
He always has been. He's always had a pretty good jersey collection, even if the latest ones are from Timu. Needless to say, thanks for joining us, Kolb. Let's get to the pick 'em. $25 on the line. What did Brant do a week ago, Cole?
Brant set the bar at 8-8.
Oh boy.
So it was a funky
It was a
NFL
very
week.
weird week.
Tanner, you were also 8-8, and I was 7-9. So sometimes it's just the week doesn't go quite as planned, and so but leading in the clubhouse so far is 8. You just gotta beat 8 wins so far.
Got to give a shout out to my wife real quick because she went 14-2 week one in our little friend pick'em that we have on ESPN. At some point, Cole, I know we talked last year about doing the wives episode. That might be
Yes.
something coming forward. But let's get to it. Thursday night football, AFC East matchup. The surprisingly competitive New England Patriots taking on Colby's former quarterback and some former players with the New York Jets. Jets 6.5 point favorites. As good as New England's looked early and as competitive as they've been, I'm just going to take the Jets because I simply think they're a more talented football team. Now, would it surprise me if New England pulls this off on Thursday night? Not in any way, shape, or form, but I'm still going to take the Jets.
It would surprise me a lot. And the Patriots have not had to go up against a particularly formidable defense yet. I mean, the Seahawks are still figuring their things out, but this is going to be the best defense that they go up against. And the New England offense is not the reason it seemed
Right.
competitive. And so there might be a couple pick sixes in this game that make it out of reach. I don't think the Patriots get into double digits, and I'll pick the Jets.
Yeah, I'm picking the Jets. I think Braylon Allen has two more touchdowns. Shout
Ooh,
out to him. That was the steal of the draft. Yeah, I think that one's an easy one.
former Wisconsin Badger. And how about the oldest player in the league throwing a touchdown to the youngest player in the league a week ago?
There you go.
Has that ever happened? Like that there's no way something like that has happened, right? Maybe at some point, but
I mean, Juju was
He's
the youngest
double
player
his
in the league
age.
for a while, but I don't think Ben, there's no way he would have been the oldest because Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers were both still playing at that time. So,
hmm.
yeah. Next up, in the Sunday games, the New York Giants go on the road to face the Cleveland Browns. I will be picking against the Giants until further notice. This is going to be the Browns getting right and getting a winning record.
You know, I picked the Giants last week, and it wasn't the worst pick. It was a competitive game. Malik
Right.
Neighbors looks like he's going to be a pretty good player. Now, Miles Garrett is going to have multiple Daniel Jones tombstones in his lawn, like he did a year ago. It's going to be a blowout. Cleveland wins big.
I don't know. Daniel Jones threw two touchdowns last week. But yeah, there's no way I picked the Giants.
The Giants did have 3 more touchdowns than Washington and
Oh,
lost.
and lost. Well, how about this? Daniel Jones has now thrown more touchdowns than pick sixes now. He's finally passed that since he signed that lucrative deal. Anyway, the game you'll be at, Colby, Green Bay in Tennessee. Titans a 3 point favorite. That line is probably going to move a lot depending on the Jordan Love situation. Even if Jordan Love doesn't play, I think Green Bay's proven they're more than capable of winning this game on the road. And Brian Callahan, I do not want to hate my quarterback more than Brian Callahan hates Will Levis right now. How brutally honest he's been in the media. We've never seen a coach do this. Just completely not throw him under the bus, but just be this brutally honest about a guy's play. I think that affects the Titans going forward, for better or for worse. And right now, it's worse. I'm taking the pack.
It's Dennis Allen with Kendre Miller over the offseason, only that's your third string running back that hasn't gotten any play so far, as opposed to talking about the guy that you are going to roll out there as a starter. I'm also picking Green Bay.
Yeah, I saw today the Titans offensive line, like their pressure allowed has just been terrible this year. The Packers have a very solid pass rushers. They haven't really been too aggressive this year playing Anthony Richardson, Jalen Hurts. They've kind of been more keeping the quarterback contained, but I think they go after the QB in Tennessee, and yeah, defense wins this game.
Even the half of the offensive line that was supposed to be better, the young half with J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski, they're still trying to gel, and Skoronski's playing guard, even though he was drafted as a tackle last year and a rookie tackles. Anyway, yeah, Will Levis is not doing them any favors, and we're also just trying to butter up the guest, right? We usually pick for the direction
Hey,
that our guest roots
you
for.
did pick Miami last week with a Bills fan on,
Well, that's good. That's because my at the time I needed
which was
Miami
a
to
fair
do.
pick. It was a fair pick.
Next up, Chicago and Indianapolis. And I'm going to pick Chicago here. Caleb Williams is going to get right sooner rather than later. And more importantly, I think the Chicago defense is going to handle Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's been up and down. He's in a little bit of a valley, and I think it stays there for a second. He's not turning that corner the way that certainly Tanner hoped that he would so far. And I think it takes a little bit longer. And I think that's okay for the record. Like, quarterback development is still an okay. He's on that trajectory. They should not give up on him, unlike other young quarterbacks.
Oof.
But in this particular week 3 this year, I'm picking Chicago.
I agree with pretty much everything you just said right there, Cole. I still think Anthony Richardson's the guy. I didn't realize this till today. He was the youngest week 1 starter in the National Football League at quarterback, younger than any of these other first-year guys that got the start. There's still a long way to go for him, and we've obviously seen moments and glimpses, but man, Chicago's defense has just looked phenomenal through 2 games, and I'm going to take the Bears as well.
So you guys are taking the off-season champs. I'd just like to point out the NFC North quarterback touchdown passes rankings. We have Malik Willis up here, and then Caleb Williams isn't even on the screen. Will Levis has been the best quarterback for the Bears this year. Give me Indianapolis.
We've got the Texans undefeated, as many probably would have expected to this point, taking the unexpectedly undefeated Minnesota Vikings, who do have a quarterback that's thrown touchdown passes in the NFC North. Take the Vikings, because why not? I think the Texans are still figuring a few things out, trying to spread the ball out and distribute it the right amount. Minnesota's just there to have fun and play ball. Very, very good coaching matchup here. The defensive mind of DeMeco Ryans versus the offensive mind of Kevin O'Connell. I'm going to take the Vikings at home.
The Daniil Hunter revenge game.
Oh,
To be fair, J.J. McCarthy, the rookie first-round quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, still hasn't had any touchdowns either. But he might not need to even next year because Sam Darnold's playing his mind. But it won't happen this week. I'm going to pick Houston.
Yeah, I can't in good conscience pick the Vikings, especially after what Aaron Jones said this week. He's
wait,
trying to create their own Lambeau leap. He called it the bank vault.
For
Just
U.S.
ridiculous.
Bank Stadium where they play. Hmm.
Yeah, so
I mean, I
Vikings
almost
are
want
just
we have an order in which that we do this. I want to skip down and get the other NFC North game out of the way right now, just to see if you will in fact pick against all of them, because it's NFC North versus Tanner's team, Detroit versus Arizona. I pick Detroit. Tanner picks.
the Arizona Cardinals win at home this week in a
Ooh,
this is the game of the week, in my opinion. More than Baltimore, Dallas, more than Kansas City and Atlanta. I think this is the best game given how these the expectations of one of these teams versus the play of another. I'm taking the Cards at home.
this was the hardest one for me, honestly.
How much do you want that gift card?
Pick with your heart or pick with your head.
See, if I pick with my head, I would say the Lions. But no, you know what? Let's go Cardinals.
Give the man something to root for or root
Yeah,
against in this case.
Now, this actually might be the game of the week. Philadelphia at New Orleans. Real intriguing matchup here. Philly loses in a very similar manner to how they lost games last year. Dumb decisions late, bad play calling on both offense and defense, even with two new coordinators. Now, the Saints on the flip side, new play caller on offense with Clint Kubiak has been out the wazoo with points. I'm taking the Eagles. I think they bounce back this week. I think this staff is going to be much better at making adjustments and saying, oh, we messed up. Let's get this thing right.
I think that the staff might be the reason that Philadelphia ends up falling entirely short of expectations this year because Sirianni has no control of what is going on, and he doesn't even try to pretend that he has any impact either. Like he's comes from an offensive sort of background, and yet it's entirely hands off to let it seems like a new offensive coordinator every year come in and try to do this. Originally, he was touted for being able to bring together his brain trust, but he hasn't been able to keep that together for more than 1 year. Now it's Kellen Moore running something entirely different than they've done before. We said during our preseason pick'em that we were going to go on vibes, not the like fully mapped out whatever that we could do, like really stat based. And the vibes could not be worse in Philly. So I'm taking New Orleans.
I see Philly bouncing back this week. I think the Saints are going to have a reality check. I feel like Philly gets off to an early lead and then they just run them out of the building with Saquon and Jalen.
Next up, I love when I'm scrolling down through and making the picks specifically in like ESPN's little pick'em platform, which is where we're all in the group that Tanner talked about. I love when I come across a game that is legitimately 50-50 on the votes because it tells you who other people are favoring. And Chargers and Pittsburgh are one of those games. It's 50-50 right now. I'm leaning Chargers. I don't think Pittsburgh's home field means anything, honestly, because they've been playing home games the first 2 weeks. You hear the fans cheering. You see terrible towels everywhere they go. Being in Pittsburgh is going to be cool, but it's nothing that they haven't gotten for the rest of the year. And I'll pick the Chargers just in a very toss-up game.
I'm going to go Chargers too. And to your point, Cole, this would almost be more of a home game if it was being
If it was
played
in
at
LA,
SoFi, given how the Chargers home fan base does not show out. I think this is, just a fascinating matchup. And I'm going to go in a coin toss Chargers.
Yeah, I got the Chargers as well. I know they played the Panthers, but J.K. Dobbins looked amazing. Herbert's looked really good all year. He's finally got a decent coach. I think the Chargers
and the second
take
level
this
of the
one.
Steelers defense has been their weak point for five since Ryan Shazier, honestly, and they've bolstered it a little bit, but they still do rely on their pass rush and having pressure, bump around kind of corners on the outside. And the Chargers aren't going to try to test that. And even if they did, Joe Alt is playing out of his mind, and Justin Herbert's big and tough enough to withstand any TJ Watt pressure. And so I don't think Watt's going to have the opportunity to be as impactful in this particular game script as he has in the past. And so, yeah, I think the Chargers just have an opportunity here.
Probably one of the more easy games of the week. Denver in Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield, is he the best quarterback in the National Football League right now? The stats would certainly tell you so. And Bo Nix has certainly been one of the worst. Tampa wins this pretty by multiple scores. Things don't get any easier for Denver.
I'm picking Tampa. I early in the season and even sitting right now, it doesn't seem like I should be picking Tampa and New Orleans to both be 3-0. They don't like this is that fraud watch kind of thing. They don't seem like real 3-0 teams, and yet it's hard to pick against them when they go up against teams that are cratering, and no one's cratering harder than the Broncos right now.
I think the Broncos will cover, but I'm still picking Tampa Bay.
Sorry, did I say that the Broncos were cratering the worst in the National Football League? Because the Carolina Panthers are going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm picking the Panthers in the Andy Dalton game, and that is why.
It's so bad. And you're just saying that because you keep all these guys on your bench in Dynasty, like Andy
Dalton's
Dalton.
one of them. If there was any backup, I have finally crafted which backup quarterbacks I keep in our Superflex Dynasty, and when there's a 5'9", 190 guy starting in front of him, I didn't think it would be because he was benched as the number one overall pick. I thought he'd just get hurt at some point. But yeah, I knew Andy Dalton would get at least 2 starts this year, and looks like he might get more.
I think this is interesting given sometimes those switches can really throw a team off or really throw an opponent off, I should say, and then really inspire them. That's not going to. The Panthers are that down bad this week. The Raiders are coming off a win over Baltimore. So I could see Vegas overlooking this. I don't think Antonio Pierce is that guy, though. I think the Raiders take the win at home.
Yeah, I think Brock Bowers has another huge game. Um, yeah, I can't in good conscience pick the Panthers and
Look, that's what people think all the time. No one's ever prepared for the backup quarterback to come in. The first game after a change, something happens. And think about why, like, just for a second, let's humor the Panthers and pretend that they're a semi-serious organization. At least, like, their head coach has been in this position before of understanding and turning teams around. He knew that the quarterback was playing so poorly that he could not do justice to the other 52 guys on the roster and continue putting him out there. And so he if you're going to make that dramatic and drastic of a decision, it's because you think that you can put a better product out there. And I think he will, at least temporarily.
Speaking of a quarterback change, Skylar Thompson getting the start for the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa officially on IR. They're in Seattle. I just don't believe in Skylar Thompson enough. Now, if I wouldn't surprise me if Mike McDaniel schemes up a way to get some of these other guys involved, but I am going to take the Seahawks at home.
Yeah, this was a real toss up for me, and part of me wants to believe that with a week to prepare and get the Skylar Thompson version of what this offense will be, that Mike McDonald will have it, but Mike McDonald of Seattle is going to come out ahead.
I'm gonna take the Dolphins. Um, I don't have any logic behind that. I'm just taking the Dolphins.
Next, Baltimore at Dallas. And honestly, I had to look down at my phone to make sure, first of all, I picked the last game the way that I already did. And then to make sure here, Baltimore and Dallas, I have Baltimore in this one.
Have the Ravens winning the Super Bowl, and I'm going to pick them to go 0-3. I think the Cowboys win at home. They are still
Oof.
definitely figuring some things out in Baltimore.
I was gonna say I can't see the Baltimore Ravens starting 0-3, so I was gonna pick them. I think they bounce back this week. What better team to do it against than the Cowboys?
Hmm. Well, speaking of teams needing to bounce back, the Niners and Rams losing last week. San Francisco's a 7.5 point favorite on the road. The Rams are so banged up. San Francisco loses games like that every year that they lost last week, and it gives me, as a Niner hater, false hope that they're going to be bad. I think they bounce back and win big this week.
Yeah, I am picking the 49ers as well. I'm nervous, Arizona looked very, very good last week, but I think that might end up being more of a referendum on this Rams defense than necessarily Arizona like totally being here as a true top 10 offense all the way through and through. And so San Francisco, this is the perfect kind of defense to get right.
I don't know. The Rams got Quintez Cephus, picked him up in the wide receiver room, former
Oh,
Badger.
oh, where'd he play college football? I wonder.
He did good on the Lions, but yeah, no Cooper Kupp, no Nakua. They're not winning this game.
The next one on our list, we covered Arizona, Detroit, skipping down to Kansas City and Atlanta, and I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
Yeah, no Isaiah Pacheco. Atlanta is hoping they figured something out with that last drive. I feel like that was almost more Philadelphia literally giving them the game more than anything. Kansas City should win and be 3-0, even without Pacheco.
Yeah, it's a primetime game too. You know the NFL is not going to let them lose in a primetime game.
To Kirk Cousins in a like the fact that Kirk Cousins won a primetime game last week probably sets the tone for the rest of his career that he won't win another one.
But I can't stand the Chiefs. I don't want to pick them, so I'm picking the Falcons.
The man's got integrity.
Doubleheader on Monday Night Football. First one, the Josh Allen Bowl, that's no longer the Josh Allen Bowl because the Jags Josh Allen changed his name. Jacksonville looks awful. Buffalo looks awesome. And yet somehow every year Jacksonville seems to find a way to upset the Bills. Not this year. Taking Buffalo at home.
I'm also going Buffalo.
Yeah, easy pick, Buffalo.
And then at least one of us picked the Ravens to go 0-3. Will the Cincinnati Bengals join them at 0-3? They're facing the Washington football team, and I can't imagine anyone on earth picking against the Cincinnati Bengals here. Even me, who said that I would swear off picking the Bengals in the month of September, I'm making an exception to the rule that I started just last week because exceptions make the rules, and I'm picking Cincinnati already.
Yeah, I'm going Bengals too. Joe Burrow looked a lot better last week. They got to keep their heads right. That's the next step for this team. They put it together in terms of executing a game plan and executing the offense at a decent level. Now let's keep our cool. Let's not pick up stupid penalties. They should win this game fairly easily against a young Jaden Daniels.
I feel like we're all picking the same teams. I kind of want to mix it up, but there's no way I'm picking the Commanders. So give me the Bengals.
Well, there you have it, folks. Picks are in. 2 weeks in, week 3 just about to get started. Want to thank our guest Colby Wilkinson for joining us. Good luck. Are you driving to Nashville?
Yep.
Oh, good luck on the drive. Enjoy. We'll be looking for you in the end zone on the Red Zone channel because they do show every touchdown, so we should be able to see you at some point.
Every touchdown from every game.
7 hours. Nothing
Love it
quite
all.
like it. Yeah.
So which is it, north or south end zone? So we know what to look for. Or do you know? Or are we
Um,
even going to be able to tell?
I don't know my north and south, I'll be honest.
Send a pic.
Well,
We'll figure it out from there.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna have a Malik Willis sign there, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, you should be able to see that. It's a picture he's photoshopped on a picture with Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers, and it says the legends.
there we go.
Oh,
And wearing green, I would assume. You'll be wearing green for us to look out
We'll
for.
see. I've got a white Jordan Love jersey. If he
Okay,
plays, I'll wear that. If not, I'll go with a green. I had got a Dontavian Wicks jersey. Maybe I'll go with that.
got it.
that's a deep track right there. You always had that. You had Ryan Grant. That was your first Packer jersey. I mean, you've had some deep cuts for a while when it comes to the jersey selection, which is cool. Eddie
Yeah.
Lacy, um, young
It's
Randall Cobb.
offensive rookie of the year. Man came out ahead of Le'Veon Bell in those votes that year, and that lasted exactly 1 year of him being better.
Till they found that China food.
Well, Cole, we appreciate you hopping on with us, man. Have a blast.
Definitely.
Glad hopefully Green Bay breaks your road streak where you haven't seen them win on the road yet, which I know is just one game, but hope that happens for you. Drive safe and appreciate you joining us on the show.
Yes, sir. Go back, go.
Cole, always a
Tanner,
pleasure, my friend. We're 7 episodes in already here in season 2, believe it or not.
7
Gonna
episodes of commercial-free football, only on Wilkin Wiss.
That's right. That's right. Appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy your weekend. Hoping BYU pulls off an upset. Hope my Cards pull off an upset. And we'll catch up Monday night after the doubleheader. For Cole Wissinger and Colby Wilkinson, I'm Tanner Wilkinson. You've been tuned in to Wilkin Wiss, your bi-weekly breakdown of Utah athletes in the National Football League. And we'd like to highlight the fans here in the state of Utah as well, as we've got a huge melting pot of where those fans come from, who they root for, and why they root for their teams. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch up with you on Monday.